Our next featured speaker embodies both commitment and compassion. Hey, recurring theme. She's a philanthropist, an educator, a writer, and an actress. Oh, and a princess. Princess Sarah Culberson. She's the co-founder of Sierra Leone Rising, a nonprofit that raises funds to improve education, economic opportunities, and sustainable living for the people of Sierra Leone. Princess Sarah was actually born in Morgantown, West Virginia, to an African father and a white mother. And as an infant, she was put into foster care. And then she was adopted by a very loving white West Virginia family. Sarah grew up contemplating and dealing with some very big questions about her identity and her biracial roots. And later in life, Sarah discovered the most unique heritage, and this new information changed her life forever. Princess Sarah Culberson.
It's wonderful to be with all of you. I'm actually so filled with emotion from the last song. I said, okay, I'm coming here to share and speak, but I didn't know how much this space would give me. I mean, do you feel the same way? I'm just holding back tears right now. And also, I just have to share that I too came to this space not knowing who I would know. And then I sitting at the table with the Karp family. John Karp's going to be the new board chair, if I'm saying it correctly. But I taught his daughter 21 years ago. I think I was 5, actually, then at the Brentwood School years ago. So it's amazing to connect with the community here as well. So when we educate a woman, we really fill a whole community and a world. And there's a statement by Kofi Annan that I want to read to you as I start sharing. As study after study has taught us, there is no tool for development more effective than empowering a woman. So I want to share with you a little story, and I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to talk about empowering women, how it's been part of my journey, and the first woman who empowered me, who you heard a little bit about in the story. But I got to take you back to the beginning, and we're going to go from West Virginia to West Africa. Does that sound good? Yes? Okay, good. You're with me. So I'm going to show you, they're going to show this picture of when I was first adopted. So I was adopted three days after my first birthday by Dr. Jim and Judy Culberson, and my dad kind of looking like a fabulous hippie, right? I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. I'm like, who is this person? And I have these 2 new sisters, Laura, blonde hair, green eyes. She was 10. Lynn, dark hair, big glasses. She was 11. Now, this is Morgantown, West Virginia, 3% African-American, and they hadn't seen very many kids of color in the neighborhood. So my sisters wanted me to meet all the neighborhood girls. So they said, come here, come here, come here. You got to see my new little baby sister, Sarah. You got to see my new little baby sister, Sarah. So all the neighborhood girls came running, and they sat in this circle. And Catherine Morgan looked over at me. Then she looked at my sister, and she said, now, wait a second. Catherine Morgan's 10 years old, by the way. She looks at my sister and she says, now, is she black or does she just have a really good tan? Like I said, Morgantown, West Virginia, 3% African-American. They hadn't seen very many kids of color in the neighborhood. My sister, Lynn, said, this is my new little baby sister, Sarah. We just adopted her. She's part West African and part white American. And they were like, oh, okay. So I was getting to know the kids in the neighborhood, growing up, getting to know my extended family. And we have this fabulous family photo that I have to show you as well. Now, you all know you have these family photos as well. Don't even try it, right? So my sisters make me give a disclaimer when I share this photo. They said, if you're going to share this photo, Sarah, you must explain that Dorothy Hamill was an Olympic ice skater. And that is why our haircuts look like this. So this room will know that story. So anyway, this is the amazing family that I grew up in Morgantown, West Virginia. Growing up, getting to know my family, and being raised in such a wonderful space. My dad was a scientist, a neuroanatomist, so we got to travel because he was doing research in other countries. So we got to live in different places around the world. But one person, when I share my story, I don't always go into depth about, but I said today, I really need to make sure I share about her. is my birth mother, Lillian Pearl Matheny, who you saw in the video before. And I started to think about her, especially when we're talking here and we're all here gathered to empower women. And I thought about her. Now, she lost her mother when she was 4 years old, and my birth mother went to stay with the best friends, and her siblings were given to other friends and family. So my mother grew up without her family, but she grew up with a new family who took her in. She ended up meeting my birth father when he came over from West Africa. They spent the summer together. He was around 19. She was a little bit older, a little bit of a cougar, but we won't say anything. And I was a surprise. So my birth father had gone back to school, and she reached out to him and said, I'm pregnant, but you should stay in school. I'll take care of her. She kept me for 9 months, and then she reached out to him and said, listen, this is a little hard for me to do on my own. Maybe we should give her to a family who can really give her what she needs. So that's what they decided. But one of the things I want to share with you today is if my mother had a community like this, if my birth mother had WLN to reach out to, she dealt with mental health issues. She ended up passing away of cervical cancer. She probably maybe would have gone to more of her doctor's appointments. But if she had a community like this, she might still be alive today. I'm not sure. But what you're all doing here today is so powerful and so special. And I know that so many women utilize this work, but I know people from the past would have loved to have had it as well. So going back into the journey, I went on to meet my birth mother's family, and then I wanted to meet my birth father. And I was nervous and I was scared. But I said, I don't want to be 60, 70, or 80 someday and it's too late. So I went on a journey, met family members, and I traveled to Sierra Leone, West Africa to meet my birth family in the tribe. And wow, was I surprised. When I arrived, my birth father gave me this beautiful green African dress. And everyone in the village, well, that's a surprise. Don't let me share that yet. But my father gave me this beautiful green African dress. And we drove on these Indiana Jones roads, I call them, to Boompe, to my family's village, to meet the tribe. And when I arrived, I was shocked because all the women came forward wearing the same green dress. Singing in Mende, my family's language, we're preparing for Sarah. This whole new world opened up. So I want you to see a little bit of this homecoming.
Little did I know my green African dress, a cherished gift from my father, would play such a big role in my arrival, my homecoming.
Thank you. So I got to meet this amazing family. I was welcomed by the women. And I actually started to think about, okay, I didn't come all the way to Sierra Leone for no reason. And I took my parents who adopted me from West Virginia to West Africa, bringing everybody together. And we started working together. And we started what you said. We started listening to learn. And that's what I talk about all the time when I speak. But we started to listen to learn in this country that had been through an 11-year civil war. And I really started to listen to the women. The women said, we walk miles a day to get clean drinking water for our children. The little girls said, we drop out of school due to our menstrual cycle because we don't have access to sanitary pads. We have a picture of some of the girls. And we drop out of school due to our menstrual cycle because we don't have access to sanitary pads. Well, we said, okay, that's not going to happen. So we started working with different organizations like this, who actually started helping with washable, reusable sanitary pads for girls. And these girls now are starting their own microeconomy. They're making their own washable, reusable sanitary pads that they can actually distribute throughout the community. And it's been absolutely incredible. When we come together, people from all different backgrounds, cultures, and so on, and we start working together, especially as women, we can make such an impact. My late mother, Judy Culberson, said, if the world, she always would say to me, when the world is off balance, it impacts all of us. So what I'm doing this work in Sierra Leone. You all are doing this work here. When we all take moments to take on different parts of the world, that's when we become one. That's when we create peace in the world. Thank you. And this last quote that I want to share with you by Kofi Annan, former Secretary General, also Nobel Peace Prize winner. Education is quite simple. It's peace building. By another name, it's the most effective form of a defense spending can do. When you spend money and support women, you can make the biggest difference in the world and create peace. I co-wrote a book called A Princess Found. It's all about when we bring people together, we don't know what can happen. And we're turning it into a movie, which is very exciting. And it's about cultures coming together to be one. So thank you for who you are. Thank you for taking time out of your day today to be here. Thank you for your contribution to this incredible organization, because women need this, want this, and they deserve to have the same equity as everyone else. From my family's language in Sierra Leone, BCA Ka. Thank you for having me, BCA Ka.